What's going on? How we doing, boys?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
This is fantastic. I forgot that I was kicking this thing off here today. No, I would have come in with a lot more energy there. Welcome everybody to the Main Event Mixer on the Main Event Network. I'm Mr. Cincinnati of the Wrestling Junkies podcast, and I have been given the distinct honor and pleasure of being able to host this week's panel. Joining me, I on the Mark podcast. Once again for calling it out the mud last week when you were on our show. I'm fairly certain that I did that, and I mean, you guys are better than them, but that's a conversation for another time. Also joining us is Jim Tucker, new dad, joining us. You must be exhausted, buddy.
I'm dealing with the lack of sleep, but a lot of energy. Super Bowl Sunday, Main Event Mixer. And the baby's been pretty good lately. The last few days we've routine and pattern, eat, sleep, poop kind of thing. So we'll
get him on the next mixer.
Yes. Yeah, he'll make his debut next time, no doubt. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love it. And then under my square right here, we've got the Great Brown Hope, Alejandro. I have not actually met or talked to him in person until now, so this is actually pretty cool. So it's nice to put a face and voice to the name. Man. Pleasure to meet you, man.
Cheers, guys. Well, most of the time.
Yeah, cheers. Absolutely. So I got
one with a regular coffee.
Yeah, I got a mimosa seltzer today. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
That's genius.
Okay. This guy is always prepared. I'll tell you what, these junkies they don't fuck around.
Dude, it's been a it's been an interesting 48 hours for us, man. Seriously. We'll save all the housekeeping and shameless plugs for the end of the show, but let's get right on into it, boys. So we've all talked about the press conference, slap heard around the world. Rock, Cody, Roman, absolute cinema that we saw on Thursday night. I think that we've all talked about it on our respective shows in one way or another. Let's get right on into the fallout here. SmackDown this past Friday, Triple H kicks off the show. A very short, polite but firm response to Rock's insinuations that we are in control here. This is our beast here. Good old Papa H using a number of The Rock's signature lines, knowing their role. There were a couple of others, but I'm blanking right now. Basically said, I'm booking the main event. Cody, Roman, Night 2, WrestleMania. I'm going to kick this off with Alejandro. What did you think about how Triple H addressed the fallout from the press conference?
I thought it was perfect. It's simple, straight to the point, as you mentioned. And with getting The Rock, Paul Heyman, and Roman involved towards the end, that was pretty good too. Kind of gave it a sense of realism. Gave it that little UFC touch, is what I was saying, that the TKO brand that's kind of helped establish what the WWE is, to give it more of a realistic feel to it. And the press conferences worked. It worked with Logan and Roman. It's going to work big time with this one. It's already getting all kinds of hype because of it, and all kinds of fallout, as you mentioned, and everybody's going crazy over it, and nothing's even set in stone yet.
Yeah. This was the most social Mr. OTM for tidbit. But Tucky, let's go over to you. What did you think about this segment?
First off, I think I deserve a round of applause because I did not see it live and I avoided all spoilers. That's very tough for me to do. Just the habit of getting on Twitter when I have like a minute randomly, I avoided it. And I thought it was a great job. I thought it was interesting. I was expecting more of a table setup, have them seated and talk and discuss. But I love the bloodline graphic from The Rock. I loved a lot of the points that he made. I do think they didn't really button up the like Roman, I'm gonna beat you, but not at WrestleMania when he comes back later and challenges him at the kickoff event. But I thought it was presented very well. I liked it. It's just something to care about weeks out, and now putting Roman and The Rock kind of in line for a little bit does give them some legs to the feud and angles too. And if it becomes a thing between Triple H and The Rock, you know, you've seen it on social media that we know Triple H isn't cleared, but that doesn't mean he can't find somebody. And with the roster that they have now, even looking at the 12 candidates that they picked to fight for that Elimination Chamber spot that Triple H and the general managers introduced, other than Ivar, you know, like that's a solid 12 people. Like all of those matchups are compelling. So I think WWE is in a great spot, and I think they dug themselves out of some shit.
I like what the Great Brown Hope was saying too about just the realistic feel of the press conference, and I think that's why it felt so major. It's just stuff you haven't seen before in professional wrestling. They're kind of changing the way we look at, you know, this sport that we so love. I mean, 200 million views already on just a freaking press conference.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about a PLE, guys. This is casual wrestling fans tuning into the product because they want to see what's going on with The Rock. Why is he getting involved? What's Triple H going to do in this situation, like Tuck was said? There's just so many interesting things that came out of this, and I think that's why everybody's excited.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that they continue this trend. I don't think you need one of these for every single PLE, but if you do this for a WrestleMania, a SummerSlam, and then I would say Royal Rumble to add to that. I don't necessarily think Survivor Series needs one of those just because War Games usually sells Survivor Series, but leading up to kind of this period of the year, I see no reason why they can't continue to do these. I mean, and Kyle, we were talking as this press conference is happening, it felt like we were watching a PLE, and it basically was 3 segments. We had Bianca.
He'll come on in and out from time to time. He freezes.
Did that happen again? Yeah. Okay. All right.
You go ahead and reiterate what you're trying to say.
I got to get a Wi-Fi booster, but yeah, I mean, 3 segments. We knew that we were there basically for that Cody, Roman, Rock interaction to see how that would go. Pre and post show kickoff panel. I mean, you're not seeing that for a press conference. So yeah, give me more of this for sure.
Yeah, and what's beautiful about it is you eliminate the contract signings too on TV. Now you turn it into a whole event as opposed to a 15-minute rush segment. Now you can do a press conference, as you mentioned, for the big ones.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
That's a really good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Decided to wake up before 10 a.m. guys. Ian's in the chat.
Not before 10 a.m. It's 10:07.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, maybe he just set an alarm just to watch us.
I'm an hour ahead, so he's way late.
Yeah, that's true. And we got Tuck and Alejandro over here. What time is it where you guys are at?
8 a.m. baby.
8:08. Yep. Nice and early.
Yeah, that's even more surprising because of how energetic Tuck is right now. I would never have guessed, but again, kudos to you.
I've been up for 3 hours, so yeah,
that's fair.
Tuck, did you already get like your 5-mile run into and everything like that?
No, that's later. I'll be able to run outside today. We're gonna hit 50, so that's a little bit later. So
we got to try.
I like it. Well, let's move on, gentlemen. So the next kind of big story we saw follow up the Women's Royal Rumble storyline, Bayley essentially coming out, affirming that she's essentially going babyface right now. There was a bit of a skirmish between Io, Asuka, Kairi. Dakota Kai has saved the day. She claims that she did not know about what's going on and kind of this power struggle going on within Damage Where Dakota's loyalty lies.
You
It's a
cut out
setup.
there for a little bit.
Okay, sorry about that. So where do you think Dakota's loyalty lies? I'll start with you, Cal.
You know, it's interesting because I think a lot of us probably assumed that Dakota was pulling the strings behind the scenes through all this damage control drama. And I still think that's definitely on the table. But right now, to kind of tease that Dakota could be aligning with Bailey is very intriguing. It makes you second guess what you originally thought. And I think that's probably the best thing that came out of this is that a lot of things right now in the WWE don't feel predictable, which I can appreciate because a lot of the times we sit here on these prediction shows and everything is cut and dry. You know what's going to happen. But I think ever since the Triple H regime kind of took over, that thought process has changed. And now that Dakota seemingly is siding with Bailey for now, I'm not buying it 100% quite yet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Tuck?
The thing that I found interesting was like Dakota Kai was almost translating everything that they were saying in some of these promos and segments. So it's not, to me, like she didn't know some of the things that were going on. She gets in the ring. Is she going to hit Bailey with a chair? Then she runs around the ring and kind of fends them off. There's ambiguity there. But I'm excited to tune in next week and see what the next step in the progression is. And I thought Damage Control was a flop months ago. I thought it was a group of women that were kind of floaty and in the middle. Io Sky gets a title. Asuka comes in, Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane, and now they're doing stuff. And like Gag said, the unpredictability is what's doing it for me. But I kind of want Bailey to be a lone wolf. So I'm interested to see how Dakota Kai and Bailey, does that work itself out before Mania? Because we know we're getting Bailey and Io Sky. Is this something in the interim that they're going to have to work through, sort out, or fight about until we get to Mania?
Alejandro.
Yeah, I think it's a setup. There's no way she's going to side with Bailey. Like it was like Bailey had mentioned that she was with them when they were making fun of her and all that and whatnot. She could have given Bailey a heads up, but she didn't. And she already did it to Tegan Knox. She'll do it again. I'm just going off that.
Yeah.
I'm going off that. Plain and simple.
What do you
think? Yeah. I think it's safe to say that Dakota is still very, very firmly intertwined with the rest of Damage Control. My thought, however, though, is I would not mind seeing this group split and Bailey going with Dakota only temporarily post-Mania for a bit, mostly because now that Dakota's back, I really want to see how they push her with an actual singles run, just because she has had such a snake-bit WWE career with the blowing out both of her knees, the release, even coming back as part of Damage.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
Initial run to the top was not great as far as those tag team titles and kind of how they wanted to establish that group. But here is a chance to bring Dakota as a single star, which at this point they need, because we're going to have to find some new challengers for Bailey eventually. We're going to have to find some new challengers for whoever walks out with the women's world title after WrestleMania, most likely Becky Lynch. So I would like to see what they do with her. I mean, me personally, send her over to Raw. I want to see what she and Tegan Knox can do, because they never really got a proper blow off to anything that they ever did in NXT. And quite frankly, when you look at the team of Io, Asuka, and Kairi, they don't need anybody else. This is just their history in Japan. Let them run. Let them do their thing. Io will be women's champion again, and I'm not worried about that, but have her back the Kabuki Warriors. Make them one of the more dominant women's tag team champions that we have seen. Give them a nice 6 to 8 month reign with the belts, but that's wishful thinking by your boy.
I think the grand scheme of things with this Damage Control drama that's going on is that everybody in Damage Control feels like an important piece right now. Like Dakota Kai, we know she's been off for some time with an injury, but like you were kind of saying, Eric, she really hasn't gotten her chance to shine on the main roster on her own. And I think that's eventually what this is leading to, and now everybody gets to see how talented Dakota Kai truly is. Hopefully she stays healthy, because I think she would be a prime candidate for Miss Money in the Bank this year.
Oh, that's smart. I like that. I really like that. And, especially now, given, again, all the changes we're seeing and how this product is being presented, you got to level up as far as this women's division. AEW is going to be hot on their trails with Mercedes likely coming in next month. As we're kind of sticking with the women's division here, we did see a qualifying match for Elimination Chamber on SmackDown as well. Bianca Belair taking on Mia Yim. Mia Yim takes another loss. This is.
I think he's got some stuff to say. I think that's what that means.
Oh man, that is awesome. No, it's okay. Keep going. My bad.
No. I'm gonna kick it over to you here in a second. Here, we've seen AJ Styles previously express disappointment. What are you thinking here? What do you think is going on with Mia Yim?
I just thought it was funny because she was brought in to take care of Rhea Ripley, and she hasn't done anything since. I don't remember her being officially announced as a member of the OC, so they kind of just plugged her in and left her there in a sense, since it's the last thing everybody else saw. I remember way back then when she was on NXT. I think I even got a block for it, but I had said something where she was going to eat the pin or something. And somebody actually asked me to reiterate about it, but she's an established person. She's got talent. She's credible. She's a dominant threat that could actually do things, but the role that she has at the moment is to help make other people look better. And she has the ability to do so. And it looks like she has a fan base that's loyal enough to stick it through with her, and it'll take her places later, but it's just not her time. It probably won't be her time for a long time.
Yeah. Tuck?
Yeah, nothing much more to add other than when Michin was on the TV this week, my wife said, I have never seen that person in my life. And my wife is not an active viewer. She doesn't tune in weekly as I do. And she's like, who is this person? When did they get here? And I'm like, it's been a while. But to the Great Brown Hope's point, it's not her time now. And I don't know that it ever will be. I think that's my stronger claim. She doesn't do much for me.
Eric, you kind of tweeted it, I think it was off your podcast account at Junkies Pod, about this could maybe lead to a potential heel turn with Mia Yim, Michin, whatever you want to call her. And I think that would be money, because right now we're finally getting her consistently on TV. Yes, she's not winning the matches, but at the end of the day, we all know in professional wrestling, wins and losses really don't matter. And maybe this losing streak is leading to something bigger, similar to what Sami Zayn's going through right now. Sami Zayn hasn't won a match in his last 11, I think it is. Yeah. They're kind of building that underdog story, getting behind these wrestlers that you might not be too familiar with. I mean, Tuck even mentioned his wife doesn't even know who Mia Yim is. I mean, that's fair, because she's pick and plug for the last couple of years, not really diving into storylines, but now there could be something there. And I think you see the vision too, Mr. Cincinnati. Frozone over here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We get it. The screen freezes.
Where's my super
soup? I'll drink to that one.
But no, you're absolutely right. So again, AJ kind of came up to her because I forget who it was that she lost to a couple of weeks ago, but she was feeling confident and like, hey, at least I kept it competitive. Like, but AJ was like, did you win? No, and that's when he expresses the disappointment. But eventually, I mean, we're seeing this on, she's even posted on social media essentially along the lines of eventually, like, I am going to break. Like, this is I'm not happy with this anymore either. I think these strings of losses that both AJ and Mia are on right now need to continue, and you need to actually get Gallows and Anderson back in the ring so they can start to express the same thing.
Yeah,
that's one of the most doing? Yeah, that's one of the most dominant tag teams in the history of New Japan. And over here, it just seems like they're an afterthought, and it's super unfortunate because they're too talented to do anything. And yeah, I froze up there again. But the way that I see it, I think a heel OC cement Mia as a member of this group is going to be great, because I mean, when we're starting to look at the faction wars that we're seeing again in wrestling in 2024. We're already seeing Final Testament, and now brings me to the next point of conversation that I want to go into is Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, and BFAB, because she has now aligned herself with them as well. Bobby Lashley's taking on Bronson Reed in the Elimination Chamber qualifying match this Monday on Raw. I know that we've kind of avoided the wild card rule or whatever they're doing with it now. Likely this is just because of the injury bug, but here's the big question that I want to ask you guys, because I think it's pretty easy to believe that Bobby Lashley is going to qualify for this match somehow.
Yeah.
Do we see, and I'll kick this over to Mr. OTM, do you see Karrion Kross qualifying for the Elimination Chamber as well?
I think it would be smart, especially if we're all assuming that Lashley is going to win his match on Monday against Bronson Reed, just to progress that feud and maybe stretch it all the way to WrestleMania. This could just be a little stop in the road with those two, because I do like what they're doing with these factions, like you mentioned. There's a couple other ones out there. You got Legado del Fantasma, you have the LWO.
Yep.
I mean, you have options here. So I think Karrion Kross being in the Elimination Chamber would probably be the right decision.
Tuck?
Yeah, I agree. I like that they're putting some of these kind of mid cards or under acknowledged talents together. And did you guys watch Love in WWE?
Not yet.
On Hulu. My wife and I binged that in a day, and it was funny. It's a great show because they're leading up to gags. They're leading up to the Mania that we went to. So there's a lot of like, oh, we were at that WrestleMania. Cool, look at us. But Montez was concerned, right? And he comes out and says, I want to be a single star. But this is something, the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, I really like it. And I don't think they're done adding to that. But coming back to the original point, I think the 6 in the Elimination Chamber, I think it's going to be star-studded because now they have the talent too. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bronson Reed sneaks his way in because he's a thick daddy. But I definitely think Karrion Kross. Yeah. Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Sign him up.
We didn't even think about that. Yeah, they're going to try to get all the Aussies on the card probably.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. That is a really good point. I mean, I can understand the logic behind that, especially given how much money Australia is paying for this event to happen over there. So I could, Bronson Reed probably getting the win. It sucks that it has to come at the expense of Bobby Lashley, though. That's just me. But we won't know until somebody's actually counting the lights on Monday.
Right. Great Brown Hope, what do you think about the Final Testament and Bobby Lashley, what they've been up to?
I was actually just looking at the lineup for these qualifying matches. It slipped my mind. I would have actually liked to see Kross and Lashley in the chamber itself, have them both start the match. Or maybe Lashley at one or Karrion Kross at one, kind of build the anticipation to them colliding. Yeah, in a sense. They've got the heads. I mentioned on Twitter the other day how Street Profits went from wanting to smoke to rolling Bobby Lashley's blunts. And now you don't even have Montez Ford in one of these qualifying matches or Angelo Dawkins, So they're making this the Bobby Lashley show, which is pretty messed up considering the whole thing with the new show with Bianca and Montez, which they could be capitalizing on giving him a spotlight or putting something on where he's not going to do his thing, getting a shine, and it builds up to maybe a heel turn or something. I've always wanted Angelo to turn on Montez, but I think with this show being out now and Belair getting all the extra publicity and all the extra hype, and basically the show, when I see the commercials, I see it as Bianca's show, not Bianca and Montez's show. Yeah. That's another thing. So little things like that could add up to something, or they might not, or I'm just things more than they are. But
to that point, I got something for that in a second there for you.
No, go for it.
Yeah. A lot of, at least in the trailer anyway, it seems like a lot of the big thing they're trying to show is, yes, we know that Bianca is the superstar and Montez is kind of the, okay, well, where do I fit in? Like it's one of those, we know he's talented. It's just kind of finding, okay, what's kind of next for him? Yes, he could kill it as a tag team half for the rest of his career if he really. At the same time, it's just kind of the let's. I want to see what I can do. I mean, even Dwayne Johnson has said he looks like, he's got future world champion written all over him. I'm also just that guy that's selfishly hoping that Montez turns on Dawkins because I would love heel Montez and Bianca, give them that. Let's think Miz and Maurice, but with much more edge.
Right. It's a good comparison. And Montez Ford's it's a guy Tuck and I have talked about multiple times on our podcast of when are you going to pull the trigger? Tuck has been, and I'm going to give him credit. He's been a day one Street Profits guy. He saw the vision.
Yeah.
He saw the potential. But it's very obvious that Montez Ford is the star. Tuck, I think it's probably a missed opportunity not having him in the chamber matches, like Great Brown Hope was saying.
Well, and Montez knows that he needs to make moments to stand out too, and he did that in the Elimination Chamber last year by climbing the cage, doing the inverted drop from the top of the cage. He is that Kofi Kingston Jace moment maker that you could put in and at minimum capitalize on the virality of a moment. It's a little bit of a head scratcher for me, but again, he's positioned behind Bobby Lashley right now. So what are you going to do? And I hope that throughout the course of this year or soon that Montez gets his chance to shine, because I think he's the one. I still have a very high opinion of both of them. And my opinion of Angelo Dawkins has only increased because he's slimmed down. He's getting more physical. He's flying all over the place too. But, Montez deserves his flowers. And maybe it's this year. I don't know. You got to get the strap off Gunther. What's the United States title?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in the mix. But,
Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I expected him to be in the chamber and to not see him in those 12. But again, the 12's pretty stacked. I don't know if we needed Ivar, but hey.
Come on.
We didn't need Logan Paul.
Come on.
Logan Paul's got a title.
That's true. That's true. That's a bigger miss to me.
Ivar has been playing on good matches, though.
Yeah. He is working. I'll give him that.
He has been a stud.
I love that they have been able to use him, even though Eric has been out with the neck injury. I mean, keeping on TV keeps them relevant so that when they do come back, I mean, we've already seen the work rate of Ivar. Now it's like, oh, we forget there's two of you guys now. So there we go. I wish that Michael Cole would tone it down about 20% when it comes to Valhalla and the Antlers. That'd be great. But yeah.
That's funny shit. What did he say? Please be wearing the Antlers. She was wearing the Antlers.
Some fetish right there.
It's all Michael Cole. He's a little weird sometimes when he gets to be him. When he gets to be himself, he reveals himself a little bit.
Him with Pat though is an electric combo. I love that they got that going on now.
He actually seems comfortable.
Yeah.
When he's with
very
Pat,
much
he seems
so.
comfortable. With Corey Graves, it sounds forced.
Right.
Like he's like, oh, I'm at work today, clocking in.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, though, because that was going to be my next question for everybody is what do you think of the transition of Corey Graves to play-by-play along Wade Barrett? I'll start with you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
we're going to go with names. I wasn't
you. That's my bad. Yeah.
I actually preferred Kevin Patrick to Wade Barrett. I'm not even going to lie.
Really?
I'm not even going to lie. Yeah. I kind of got a...
That's the last thing I expected to hear today.
Yeah. I got a little bored with Wade Barrett after they took him off with Booker T. I think he did a couple shows with Booker T that were pretty good.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't have taken Kevin Patrick off. He was doing all right because they've always kind of pushed Corey Graves as the next guy from the moment he got on the microphone nonstop on the announcing table. So after Michael Cole, we're probably going to get a lot of Corey Graves. But Michael Cole's not going anywhere for about another 100 years. Yeah. But the new shift is actually pretty good. I like Michael Cole with Pat McAfee, and I don't even like Pat McAfee. But him and Michael Cole are actually pretty great together. SmackDown's it's okay. I actually liked Kevin Patrick's what's the word I'm looking for? Over enunciation of things. It kind of was always like a little extra thing to be like, when he's like, oh my gosh, it worked. It worked, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is."
Hey, he was trying. He was working.
No, he was. He was into it. He was working. He was a mark. He was a mark. He reminded me of a Matt Striker on commentary.
Oh yeah,
Matt Striker was really good on commentary. He had all those nice little tidbits. He was one of us. He was a mark. So
yeah,
you need that kind of thing in commentary. That's why Pat McAfee works, because Pat McAfee's a fan first.
Yeah. It's just like he's one of those guys that like you can tell that he loves to be there, but if you were going to call at least for the foreseeable future, you're going to do this for 52 weeks a year. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. You got to know who's on the roster. You got to know at least a little bit about them to try to add some depth to what it is that they're doing in the ring. I mean, JR has said it how many times? The in-ring action is the music. We're the lyrics. So you gotta have a little something. It's cool to have fun. Like I love having McAfee back. He's good. I mean, from the standpoint of the new WWE that they're trying to present as far as this entertainment product, he's the perfect guy that fits into that fold. Doesn't mean you can't be knowledgeable at the same damn time.
Yeah, it's true. But like the Great Brown Hope is saying, he brings that fan excitement to the broadcast. And I think that us as the viewers can appreciate that. Because at the end of the day, all these people that are in the WWE once started as a fan. Everybody had that dream of being in the company one day. And you talk about that crossover too. Pat is on College Game Day. Pat has a show on ESPN. Pat talking about the WWE on his other, shows is just going to bring more attention to the product. But going back to Corey Graves and what he's going to be doing on SmackDown, I think you got to give him some time. It's not easy to switch from a color to play-by-play role in any sport, whether it's baseball, basketball, or professional wrestling. So I think Corey Graves, since he's been around now for over a decade, he knows the roster. He knows the history with this current, set of guys that they have on the main roster. So he's going to be able to connect a lot of dots. I like what they have going right now for the commentary team. Tuck, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I was surprised that McAfee came back, but it makes sense that his schedule's opened up. He might not be on College Game Day. When those two are getting after it, it's like buddies and bros. And I think he pulls out some informal Michael Cole a little bit more. But with SmackDown, I've enjoyed listening to Corey Graves as well, because now he's calling the shots. And he's kind of less annoying, but I think that second position is always there to kind of play the devil's advocate. Right. But so far, so good on my end.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I mean, at this point, press conference fall, it's basically established. Rock and Roman are coming back next week, according to Paul Heyman. Mr. OTM, I'll start with you. What are we thinking happens here? Because I think the big question is, what are we going to see with The Rock? I mean, the interaction had us thinking that there might be a tag team match of some kind. So I guess my question to everybody here is, Cal, start with you. Do you think this tag team match happens, and does it happen at Perth?
I can't sit here and confidently say yes or no, just because they're keeping us on our toes so much recently. But it's definitely something I'd like to see. I can tell you that. I think it would put some butts in seats in Perth. We talked about how they're trying to get The Rock to work the Elimination Chamber because there's that Samoan connection there in Australia, so that would make a lot of sense. But I'm not sure what direction they're going in. But having The Rock show up with Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman on next Friday, is going to be electric. That's for damn sure. Great Brown Hope, I'm curious on what you think about all this, from the initial point where Cody said he wasn't going to be challenging Roman Reigns after pointing to him after winning the Royal Rumble, to getting the match at the press conference. Do you think that was the right decision to ultimately give Cody that spot versus Roman Reigns?
No, it was going to be Cody's spot regardless. And with The Rock being able to push his weight, that was going to play a factor into it. So even if this is final, The Rock could always come back and say, oh, well, I'm a part of the board. I'm going to scrap this match. Now it's going to be me against Roman. Screw your Royal Rumble win. Nobody cares. Blah, blah, blah. But the bigger picture I'm looking at was the picture itself with all the names on there. I think they're going to bring in some more goons. More goons. More new
Jacob
goons.
Fatu,
The Rock.
Maybe?
That'd be so nice.
The Rock comes in, just switches up the bloodline, gets rid of Jimmy Uso. He keeps Solo. Brings in a couple new guys, and now you got Jimmy Uso back in the fold with Jay. Gets involved with Cody. It becomes a 3-on-3 kind of thing, and Rock doesn't have to be involved in the match at all. Triple H doesn't have to be involved in the match at all. They can just be the guys that oversee things or pick the guys out, or The Rock does the whole Plan B thing, like Triple H did with Seth, where Jacob Fatu comes out and he whips Cody's ass, and you wouldn't know who he is. Cody wouldn't be prepared for him because he hasn't scouted him. Hits him with something different, something the fans haven't seen. Now you got a guy who's been handpicked by The Rock to take care of Cody. So, what wrong could come from The Rock handpicking a guy?
Tuck, do you think a tag team match is something that they could pivot to here at the Elimination Chamber?
Well, yeah, and it's one of those things where it gives The Rock an opportunity to kick off some of the ring dust. It's a tag match, so the workload's not all on him. And they're still about 5,000 tickets away from a sellout as of 3 days ago, according to WrestleTix. So They're at about 44,000 as a couple days ago. Can get up to 50. That building can hold up to 50. And then again, if you have that push and you announce it soon enough, the problem is it's on the 24th, so you're kind of heading where you're heading. So I think it's a smart idea. It gives us leverage. A multi-man match, a tag team match, like WWE can send it in different angles. There's things that you could do with Rollins. There's things that obviously The Rock and Roman have their connection and they're seemingly working together at this point. But then you've got the Cody of it all, and I think it adds something because right now you've got the women's chamber match, you've got the men's chamber match, and then what else? And if I'm going to wake up at 2 a.m., I would wake up for I'll probably be up. Thanks, Augie. But I'm here for it because it gives you the opportunity to add layers or send it in different directions on the road to WrestleMania. So I vote yes. So I'll call The Rock and let him know.
Eric, I want to say the fantasy booking that I said on your guys' show on Friday.
Please do.
Get the Great Brown Hope and Tuck's thoughts. So here's my thinking with all this Cody Rock Roman situation. We saw 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, The Rock and Cody exchanged words. They were whispering to each other. We have no idea what they said. What if all of this is just a swerve for The Rock to insert himself as a special guest referee and aid Cody Rhodes in winning the world title because The Rock doesn't believe that Roman Reigns is truly the head of the table? Then you can have Cody as your champion post-WrestleMania, and you could do Rock versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, no titles, just for the head of the table. What do you guys think about that?
I like it. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm here for that, especially like let's load up that SummerSlam card selfishly.
No, exactly. Yeah. You make SummerSlam a bigger deal, and as he mentioned, it's not for the title. It's going to be a big deal regardless.
Hey, and we're going to have to get you out here for SummerSlam. We're trying to get a main event, just party going on there. Get some content out. It might be in Cleveland, though, so it's not that exciting.
Cleveland, huh?
Okay, it's still a 4-hour drive for us. So that's
Cleveland's not bad. Like Cleveland down by like the baseball stadium and stuff like that. It's all right. It's not bad. Kind of like the Detroit. You think Detroit's an armpit, but when you get down there, there are spots other than the limp body we saw on 12th Street at the stop sign that was not being tended to by anybody. Detroit, not bad.
It was fine. Everything's fine.
I forgot about that. That was something.
Is this Cleveland
first part of our trip?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't know.
Eric, 420 friendly in Ohio?
What's that?
Are they 420 friendly in Ohio, or is that not legal yet?
It has passed. There's a lot of bureaucratic red tape that comes with it, but by the end of the year, it should be up and running. So.
We got an interesting comment here from Josh. He said Reigns is too close to breaking Hogan's record. Don't think he should lose.
Break that racist record.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one because I do happen to know Mr. Northcutt.
Yeah.
Don't put that out there in the universe. All right. That's all I ask of you, man. Please don't put that out there in the universe. There is still time. There's still time. They're shilling 40 years of Red Yellow Mania stuff. Even though this is not my show, I'm still not saying his name. We're at let's see, 18 days and counting since that name was last said on any main event show, at least on our show anyway. So, I still say Roman loses at Mania.
Does the record really mean that much at the end of the day? I feel like Roman has already proven enough with the current reign that he's on that he's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time.
It has to. It has to be extended because this was Vince's vision from day one for Roman Reigns, was to be the top guy. And now instead of force feeding him down our throats, you've turned him into a guy with a legit streak. Now everyone's always saying, "Oh, he's a part timer. The days are extended or whatever." But he's already beaten everybody. We're just going to get the same matches over and over. I don't want to see Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns 5 times, to be honest. Unless Kevin Owens is going over, but that's not going to happen. No. It's been their vision from day one, and now he gets to be Roman Reigns, who was the longest reigning champion at some point, either first, second, or third, instead of being the guy that they thought was going to be the next John Cena or the next Hulk Hogan. Now he's established himself as the Roman Reigns. So he's got
Fair.
that's his stick now, is the streak and being a part-timer on TV or whatever and whatnot. And it should go on for another couple months at least to break Hogan's streak, and then at least you keep Bruno's intact, so there's some sort of what's the word? I'm drawing a blanks here. Prestige. So there's prestige to the belt. So there's a reason to chase the belt, a reason to want the belt, a reason to be amongst the greats, so to speak.
The only thing is, so to break Hogan's record, this reign has to run until September at least. It's going to be really, really hard to get Cody fans to buy into one more year of that, because I mean, we almost didn't make it through this year of this build. So it just
did. WrestleMania 39, we're not happy.
Like, I mean, I mean, even as we watched it, I mean, Chris is sitting next to me. He called Roman winning on our previous show, but then when we see the Cody stance and all, the entrance, he's got the Kenny Omega tribute on the jacket. It's like, no, he has to win this, right? And then when he doesn't, it's just like, just wind is out of the sails. I mean, I don't think that you can get, especially with how, I mean, there was a change.org petition that went out to get Cody back into the main of WrestleMania. And I just don't know that you're going to get this diehard fan base to buy into that for one more year. I just don't know how you do it.
No, I was going to say the same thing. And I want to ask Tuck, because I haven't had the chance to talk to him. He wasn't on OTM this week. Tuck, do you think this was all a part of the plan, like swerving us with the decision, or do you think they kind of had to pivot based off the reactions and the change.orgs and the Cody crybabies going wild on Twitter?
I don't think it was the plan at all. I don't. No. I think CM Punk, his injury put a lot of moving parts in motion. Cody wins the Rumble, points at Roman Reigns with the title, points at WrestleMania. Okay, the path is clear. A week later, Punk's injured. I'm not facing you at WrestleMania. A week later, I'm facing you at WrestleMania. So I think I think the kickoff event was their attempt to kind of redo it. And now I think the credit, Cody deserves the credit for being a company man and kind of doing his job, right? I really respect Cody for going out there and doing the thing he was told to do. And now we get the match at Mania. The Rock is in the fold because, again, prior to The Rock seemingly challenging Roman at WrestleMania 40, everybody wanted The Rock versus Roman. It's been a thing and a desire for the fan base. I just think everybody wanted it for that match without the title for the head of the table. That is its own prestige and similar, seemingly more prestigious from that specific family's standpoint. So I don't think it was intentional, but I do think they've done a great job. And I think this is kind of a distinct difference between Vince McMahon and Paul Triple H Levesque, in that Triple H got it right. I think Vince would have doubled down and, put the middle finger up and said, like, this is what I said. So I think it's an opportunity for us to see the change in creative and that they're open. I also think, like, The Rock turning heel, calling Cody's crybabies, shows that maybe he's not as selfish as he was positioned to be and people were putting it out there to be. I do think he is a company man, but he knows where the money is too. So I don't think it was intentional, but I think what we're getting from it could be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I
said it better myself, my friend.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, we'll see kind of what happens here. I think that it's safe to say that there are more questions than answers as we are on the road to WrestleMania. But lucky for you guys, we've got plenty of weeks to go. There's going to be plenty of time for other main event mixers. We're going to move this on to the shameless plug part of the show because we all have great endeavors that we're doing. I want to hear from Alejandro first, just because I see you active on social media all the time. But tell everybody what you do for Main Event Net.
I got blogs. We are on the blog as much as possible. I see everybody doing their own thing, getting their videos and their podcasts out. So there's still some wrestling fans out there doing some reading. So check out the Great Brown Hopes blogs, only on a Main Event Network, baby.
I'll tell you what, too. your writing style is very unique, and I can appreciate that because a lot of people, when they're pumping out blogs, writing articles, very cookie cutter, just just basic stuff.
They're trying to be writers. Is what it is. They're trying to stick to the mold. Be a fan. Have some fun. Either someone's gonna read it or no one's gonna read it. Just have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can check out all the blogs on our website. We got the links on our socials. So just check out the link tree, head to the blog. A lot of good stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, baby.
The Great Brown Hope. So make sure you're following my guy over here.
Hell yeah. Shameless plug, baby.
Mr. OTM.
Yeah, you know about us. OTM's live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Tuck, you're going to be making it this week, right? You'll be there?
Yeah, as of right now.
Card subject to change, right?
Yes, that we don't have baseball in the evening. We got tryouts coming up on Saturday the 17th. The baseball season's right around the corner. So Thursday is open, and the following Thursday will be February break. So I think I might be getting 2 weeks in a row, and then I probably won't see you for about 14 weeks. We'll see.
What?
So that's why we have 3 co-hosts, because we can interchange everything.
Nice.
We used to have Erica Marini, but she frequently is a guest, so she's still kind of a part of it. But we got a rotating cast of characters on the Mark Wrestling podcast, and you see the Twitter handle down there at Pod on the Mark, live every Thursday, like I said, at 7 p.m. Central. So Eric, why don't you tell the listeners about the Junkies podcast, and let's get the hell out of here and get ready for the Super Bowl.
I like it. I popped back just in time. I froze up there again. Anyway, yeah, follow us at Junkies Pod on Twitter. It's been a crazy couple of days for us. We are the exclusive sponsors of Mustafa Ali's debut at Action Wrestling, April 26th in Tyrone, Georgia. Make sure to follow the good doctor, Landon Hale. He's got a hell of a tour coming up. He's got WXW in Germany, and then Set Up Pro Wrestling in Bangkok, Thailand as well. He's taking on Monomouth on March 23rd. That is, so we're going to be doing some exclusive content with him as well. Buy our merch. We have t-shirts. We have stuff now. So that's our pinned tweet at the top of our profile on at Junkies Pod, just because that is too long of a link to actually get people to remember. But yeah, buy a shirt, buy a mug, whatever. Just help us out. But that's what we got here. We're live 4 nights a week, weeknights at 6:30, wind down Wednesdays at 8:30. As well. We drop wrestler interviews every Friday, as well as episodes of our game show, Stump the Smark. For the podcast dad who is on dad duty and not feeling so hot today as well, I kind of miss you. So, yeah.
He'll probably be on some episodes coming up. Like the main goal here with the Main Event Mixer, if you guys are not familiar, because this is still a work in progress. This is episode 2. We're just going to get a collection of the networks together, or network personalities together, almost every Sunday, because there's so much good stuff happening right now in professional wrestling. So please, guys, follow us on the socials at mainevent_net. We got blogs, we got YouTubers, we got podcasts. And look at that. We all came together right here, right now for the very first time. This is our first time meeting each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, this is a special group here at the Main Event Wrestling Network.
And we got merch. Don't forget to tell them we got merch.
Look at the merch right here, baby. We got it.
Look at that. Look at that right there, baby.
Look at this guy.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, 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 baby.
Love it.
All right, boys. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure today for Mr. OTM, for the new dad, Jim Tucker, for Alejandro the Great Brown Hope. I'm Mr. Cincinnati. Thank you so much for enjoying Main Event Mixer number 2, and we will talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
Later, guys.